Hey, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to Wisdom Through the Seasons, where we break the stigma of sharing our stories. My name is Ariel, and today we have Miss India Brown with us today. I love India. She is sometimes when you decide that you are going to step out and you're going to try something new or try something different, you you would really be amazed to find how many connections you actually find that way. And I'm so thankful that I was able to find you through Chrisette Michelle's sisterhood group, because she has really been, I don't want to cry. She has really been somebody, and I didn't want to tell you this, but to see somebody who is a scientist and somebody who is in STEM and is doing the things that they are passionate about doing, it's so important to connect with people that are elevated in that way. And so I really admire you. I admire, like, you are just so amazing. And I really want you to know that, like, you really are amazing. And that's why God is doing what he's doing, because you deserve to be in the rooms that God is setting up for you. You deserve it. Okay, so let me stop before I go in there. Let me pull out of there. Okay, so so today is a special episode because growing up I was a nerd and I loved science, and I wanted to I was in the National Society for Black Engineers. Like, that was my thing. Yeah, I loved it. But then I was like, this gonna be a lot of school. Oh no, let me but if you could explain, tell the people who you are and what you do.
So I'm India, as she said. I am a scientist. Specifically, my background is biotechnology. So, and then my concentration was plant science. So I did a lot of experiments in school on different types of plants, did genetic things, GMOs. Everybody knows GMOs. I did a lot of that in college. But when I graduated, I wanted to go into cancer research. I always had a passion for that. Everybody has had some type of interaction with cancer, whether it's themselves, whether it's a family member, or something to that effect. I myself had a cancer scare when I was 13, and I've lost family members from different cancers. Um, and the biggest trigger for me to go into that field was losing my godmother in college to cancer. So I saw her from, like, diagnosis to the end, and it was very traumatic for me. Um, and so I was, when she passed, I'm like, this is not fair. There's got to be something, because it wasn't necessarily the cancer that killed her; it was the treatment. As we
Mm,
know, cancer, chemo, and radiation basically wipes out your immune system. It kills everything. It doesn't differentiate, oh, those are healthy cells and those are cancer cells. And so those treatments wipe out your immune system, and they do give you treatment to try to rebuild your immune system. But more often than not, the chemo and radiation has wiped out your immune system to a point where your cells cannot recover, and you ultimately ended up dying. And a lot of times it's from small things that your immune system is wiped out, and even like a common cold could kill you, because
yeah,
you literally have no white cells. Your immune system is shot, and your body is really struggling to rebuild itself.
yeah,
That's basically what ended up happening to her. Um, it the killing of all of her cells from the treatment, and her body not being able to be strong enough to come back from that. And I had a very strong passion that developed from that, to figure out how we can treat cancer, without wiping out somebody's immune system. I haven't discovered. I know I'm not gonna go that way. I got a job at a pharmaceutical company, and we made cancer treatment for prostate cancer. So
Okay.
it's a very specific treatment, and the magical great thing about that treatment is that it uses the patient's own blood cells. So basically, the patient would donate their blood. We'll get the bag of blood. We separate the red cells and we treat the white cells, which is the white cells is what fights off disease, infections, and things like that. And that's what you want. You want to have enough white cells to fight off infections and diseases and things like that so that your body can recover.
Wow.
And so that's the great thing about that treatment is that because it's the patient's own cells, your body immediately recognizes it. So it is able to differentiate what's good and what's bad and allow your body to build its immune system back up so that you can ultimately recover or extend your life. We don't say it's not a cure, but it does extend your life.
Okay.
From there, where I'm at now, I am at a medical device company. The devices that we have are in all of the hospitals, blood banks, donor centers. All of these different facilities have our instruments, and we service the globe. So literally almost every continent, we have our instruments there. So basically those instruments are done to determine like your blood type. So say God forbid you're in a car accident. Your blood type is not on your ID. So of course, when you get to the hospital, they're giving you O negative. That's the universal blood type.
Yeah.
While they're giving you the O negative blood, we've taken your blood sample and they're going to run it on our instruments to determine what your blood type is. They also do diagnosis for different diseases. They also do identify if you're a match for an organ, so donor matching, cross matching, disease diagnosis, determining blood types, pediatric, like a lot of different, basically all the assays that are run in hospitals and places. That's what our instruments do. My role in that is to we're a pilot lab. So basically, we are constantly testing our products to make sure that they are performing the way that they should. That's what my lab does. That's the lab that I manage. I have like 5 technicians that test our products every day to make sure that they're performing properly. So if a customer from a site calls in to say they're having a particular issue with, like, they're trying to run a particular sample and they're not getting the results that they should, we will try to replicate that to see if we can figure out what the issue is, whether it's an issue with the instrument, whether it's an issue with one of our products, or if it's an issue with you yourself. So you performed that step wrong. So like all of our products have a package insert with it direct. You know, we never follow directions.
Sure don't.
Roundabout ways to do things all of the time, especially being a laboratory setting. A lot of people find ways to cut corners.
Yes.
Try to extend the product, so they'll dilute products to try to extend the life of them, and then they'll call us like, oh yeah, we're getting false negatives or false positives, and so we have to go through the series of asking all these questions to try to figure out. And a lot of times, if we send a field service engineer out there, they'll determine like, yeah, they were,
you ain't do what you needed to do.
Yeah, they were diluting it, or they were not storing the reagents properly, because we make all of our products in-house. So it could be something small like that. So in a nutshell, what I do is manage our pilot lab. And that's, it's interesting.
You are amazing. You are so amazing. Okay, so that is not a small feat either. Okay, so you actually answered my second question that I was going to ask you. So you actually answered that, so you don't have to answer that. Okay, so if you could describe your journey of being a woman in STEM and being a woman of color in science. I know it's loaded.
Yeah. just that, a journey.
Yeah.
Coming from an HBCU, shout out to Beaver Valley State University. We were, I like to say we were spoiled. We were very coddled. The experience of an HBCU versus a PWI is polar opposite. So all of our administrators, staff, professors, everybody wants you to win.
Yeah.
Not to say that they don't at a PWI, but you don't get that one-on-one attention like you would or you do at a HBCU. So I was afforded the opportunity to attend a HBCU and to have professors and administrators that wanted to see me win. My advisor from day one saw something in me that I did not see in myself. I did not want to major in science at all. I went to school to become a forensic psychiatrist.
Wow.
That was what I wanted to do. You know, my senior year in high school, I mean, I was an honor student in school, so I'll back up just a little bit. I was always good in science, but it didn't trigger anything to me. I just happened to be good in science. I was horrible in math, and I was excellent in science. And everybody was like, that doesn't even match. Like, how are you so good in science, but you can't? So I can do everything until you tell me to, like, use a formula to do something. Then I'm like,
Woo. I understand.
Like, me real quick. Cool, I need that. Thank you. So, you know, I was always smart. Like I said, took honor classes and all of that stuff, but I still was normal. So I still had struggles. Science just was never an interest of mine. I was just naturally good in it. And so I say I was a nerd in a different way. I was a nerd in the fact that I was always trying to figure things out. And so I took a psychology course junior year and fell in love with it. I always thought I wanted to be like a counselor. My aunt is a counselor at my middle school, and so I thought that was really cool because we would go in the office and sit down and tell her all our problems. And if we needed to step away from class, we was having a moment, we had a bad day, we go to her office and for hours, it felt. So I'm like, that's what I want to be. I want to help people. I always seem to be the person in my group of friends that was the one that was being the ear and giving the advice and strategy and, my opinion about things. So I felt naturally, I'll be a psychologist, of course. That makes sense. And then I ended up taking a forensic class because I needed an extra class to graduate. So it was more like an elective type of class. So I didn't go into it with any expectations other than I needed it to graduate. But then taking that class, that professor, that teacher realized that I was good in it. And she was the one that told me, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a forensic psychiatrist. I didn't know you could even bridge those two together. So that my teacher senior year told me about that. And so then it just shot off from there. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I did all the research. I know I'm going to be in school forever because, I want to make the most money. So I know that means
right.
And, to be, and then I have to get my other degree because, a psychiatrist is the one who can prescribe medication.
Yeah.
Psychologists cannot. So I'm like, no, I want to be the top. So I want to be the psychiatrist. And then I read, forensic psychiatrists, they can actually testify on cases. They can tell you whether you can or cannot sit on a jury. They can tell you whether or not you can testify. They can actually even go when children need to be removed from the home, which I didn't like that part, but I'm like, I understand it. So it's so many layers to being a forensic psychiatrist, and I was just really drawn to do that. But I get to Fort Valley, I get into the registrar's office to, she asked me like, well, what do you want your major to be? And I told her, psychology. I want to be a forensic psychiatrist. And she's like, no, just real quick. Like, she's like, oh no, you're not doing that. Let me pause and say, the registrar of my school is my godmother.
Okay.
I was born. So let me preface that. And I'm like, I'm taken aback. I don't even know how to respond to it because I literally had a folder. That's why I say I've always been a nerd. I literally had my folder with everything in it. I brought my senior folder and it had all, it explained everything.
Your portfolio.
I was sitting there like, oh yeah, I want to be. And I was all excited. I'm like, yeah. And then eventually I was like, I know. Because I was a person where I know everything. I already know what you're going to say. I gotta go I gotta go to school. I have to become, I gotta get my PhD first, and then I gotta so I spit it all out to her, and she's like, "You know how long it's gonna take you to do that?" And I was like, I know it'll take. It's gonna take, a couple of years, 4 years to get your bachelor's. And I'm like, about 7-8 years.
Right.
And she's like, "Do you know how long it's gonna take you to start actually making money after you do all that?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just know that's what I want to do. And so she was like, no, you're going to go over to the agriculture department. What? I was like, I'm not going over there. Because all I knew about agriculture was tractors and animals and being outside. And I am a tomboy, but I'm a girly girl at the same time. I have all brothers. I grew up with brothers, so I know how to do all of that stuff. But I'm like, I'm not going outside.
Right.
This is an agriculture school. That's where all the funding is. You're going to go over there. You're going to get a scholarship. And you're going to da-da-da-da. And I was just devastated. I had no interest. I get over there. I meet the professor, the director of the department, biotechnology. Never even heard of that word before. I'm like, what is that? So he's showing me the labs, all the things that they do. He's explaining everything to me. And I am so disinterested. I'm just got attitude. My mom's like, straighten up. I don't have no money to send you to school, girl. Pay attention. I'm like, I don't want to be here. This is not what I want to do with my life, bro. This is my life.
All right, Gwen.
This is my life. And so and I had my folder, so I had, my SAT scores, my GRE scores, all of my little stuff. So he's looking and he's like saying the same thing. He's like, wait, you're really good at science. And he's like, oh, you took honor classes in high school. Like, why don't you want to be in science? Like, he's like, you're a scientist. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yes, you are. I'm just like, that's not what I want to do. And I told him what I want to do. He's like, the same thing. Like, no. So he's like, I tell you what, gave me the application, apply for this scholarship, STEM scholarship, apply for the scholarship, and we'll go from there. And I'm like, okay, apply for it, go home. The very next day, I get an email. Congratulations, you are the recipient of the 2007-2008 STEM scholarship for that school year. Da, da, da. What? I'm like, Mama, I don't want to do it. I don't want. You going?
That's free money, child. You got to go where the money at.
I don't have no money to send you to school. You going? So that scholarship covered my tuition every year that I was there. Of course, you had to maintain your grades, all that type of stuff. But I was able to maintain and keep that scholarship for 5 years. It took me 5 years to graduate. So get into the program. Still not happy, but I'm there now. What you gonna do?
Right.
But I take my first intro to biotechnology class. And that class is where I fell in love with science. That class is where I learned how to network. I learned about knowing your worth. I learned about we don't do nothing for free.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you do is valuable. And then the biotechnology part. I learned how to speak, how to communicate to a scientific community versus a non-scientific community. He literally would throw us into environment and sink or swim.
Mhm.
And we were always angry with him for doing that. But of course, hindsight 2020, we understood after why he did it. Because my nickname from him is Troublemaker. One that's gonna be like, excuse me, Dr. What?
Yeah.
I was out. That was me. And he's like, Troublemaker. To this day, he still calls me Troublemaker. So, but all of those, it ended up being, of course, God knows where you should be. So it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. I was able to travel literally to different countries, different states, present research in front of all different types of people. I was doing research at, D1 institutions. But with that, because I don't want to get too far off of your question of being a Black woman in this field, Black and a woman.
Right.
It is
they the same but separate.
They the same but separate. So, being a woman, we'll start being a woman. You're initially never taken seriously at face value. So I have, like I said, I've done research at D1 institutions. So coming into the door, being a woman, because the stereotype of a scientist is male.
Mm-hmm.
And then even further, it's a white male with a coat on, hunched over in the lab, mixing up some chemicals and exploding and doing something.
Yeah.
That's the image, right? So if that is the standard and that is the image and that is what has been shown for forever, who am I? Immediately walking into the lab, you see the face like I was working in a lab where not only was I the only woman, I was the only Black person of a lab full of Asian male, all male postdocs.
Wow.
And I had just graduated with my bachelor's. A bachelor's and a postdoc. And I'm a Black girl from Georgia.
Whew.
Who am I? Who am I? Every single day, and most of them did not speak English. They spoke very much broken English. Everything in the lab was written in Chinese. Literally, everything. So you can only imagine not only a language barrier that I had to overcome being in this lab. There was no respect for me at all whatsoever. Did you think about the Asian culture? Think about China. Think about where women rank in China. Well, yeah, they're not on the scale.
Right.
So I come in there, freshly graduated, because like I said, HBCUs, they tell us we can do whatever. We are super people, and how dare you? So I walk in there with my head held very high. And almost immediately, I sunk down like, oh my God, can I do this?
Mm-hmm.
All of my confidence went away immediately. Because imagine working in an environment where every single day you're being asked, why are you here? Every day. And like, when are you leaving?
They said that?
Yes. Listen.
Woo!
No one. Okay? No one. So, and how dare I question anything, about how they run their lab and what they do. It got to a point where they literally, I had done all of this work because I am that good.
Right.
In spite of you. Where they tried to suppress me from presenting the research. And that became a big thing, because imagine you working for a company for 3-4 months and they're like, thank you so much, but yeah, we're not going to be able to compensate you thank you though, like we're keeping everything that you did for us.
Somebody gonna cut a check. Somebody gonna cut a check for all this time, this effort, this value I put in. Cut them kibbles. Ain't no, y'all better find it in one of them test tubes. Cut my check.
Listen. So again, let me keep it and not go too far off. What has sustained me, number one, is God, of course. Number two is believing in myself, knowing my capabilities, and drawing on that in those moments where I start to feel inferior to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy. And that's why you have to have something that grounds you. And for me, that's God.
Yeah.
Going into rooms where I'm not the only Black person. This was my experience prior to entering the workforce. And that's why I'm so grateful and thankful to my advisor in undergrad, because he put us into those environments because he already knew. You know, he is a person of color. He's from India. And just him coming to America, he told us his story first day of class. You know, he came here on a boat in, 1960 something, and how he was treated, how long it took him to get citizenship, how long it took him to get a job, how long, and he came over here with years of experience from India, and he got here and it was zero, like he had done nothing. There was no respect for him. They did not acknowledge anything that he did. He literally built himself up from the ground up. So his experience and his testimony and his story helped all of us, because he's at HBCU, he got a classroom full of Black kids from, different parts. Like, we've never seen that. We've never been exposed to anything like that. We've never seen anything like that. And I mean, and I'm talking about the program.
Okay.
Being a Black person, of course.
Yeah.
The plight of us in America.
Yes.
How we've been treated since we were dragged over here. So he taught us how to have self-confidence. He taught us how to have self-value. So when we would go into these rooms and these conferences to present to people, it's normal to be nervous. It's normal to be scared. And he would put, having that person, like I said, he was our angel. Like, he was literally a God sent, literally. Because, like I said, he saw in me what I did not see in myself. So when he would throw me into these spaces and put my name on a program to speak at a conference in front of all these people that don't look like me, and I'm looking at him like, why would you do that to me? I would be angry with him. And he would like, India, you can do this. I would not put you in this room if I did not believe that you could do this. And so you're literally fighting against, your flesh. And then you have this person that is speaking into you and that's seeing something in you. At some point, you draw from that. And so that gave me more comfort. So, of course, like anything, you start riding a bicycle, you fall until one day you finally get it. One day you learn your balance. You figure out your balance and you learn how to ride. That's the same type of mentality. I found my balance throughout all of the adversity and people and how they felt about me, and seeing me come into a room and immediately judging me. Getting hit and knocked down in that way forced me to become stronger. It forced me to believe in myself and to have confidence in myself and to say to myself, like, no, you do know this. You know how you would not be here. You do know this. So being in a room in New York, not only was I the only Black person, I was only female. And so Fordham University, all white institution, very prestigious, Denzel Washington went there, actually. He studied there. And so that was very intimidating. And
I'm sure.
Come into this lab of all white people. I am, and in that situation, my advisor did not like me. She and it ended up being a blessing in disguise in the end, because when she first met me, she had expectations of what I should know, and there were things that I did not know. And so then that caused me to doubt what I did know. So I kind of crashed and burned in the beginning, because I almost literally forgot everything that I had already learned, because she was so mean. I'm in New York. The way their personalities and all of that thing is totally different from the South. I'm from, so, but in the end, because I wanted to quit. I've wanted to quit a lot. And thank God for my mom. She don't know nothing about science, but God gives her the words to say to encourage me. So many times right before I'm about to go and give a presentation, I'm on the phone with her and she's praying for me and she's encouraging me, and building me up and me drawing from that. So now I am very secure in myself. I am very secure in what I know. I am very secure in what I can know and what I can learn, and who I am. Like, I'm the bomb. Like, I don't say it, but
you are. No, you really are.
I am. So knowing your worth, knowing your value, and having confidence in that, even when no one else does, is the key to navigating this world. Not only this world, but the specific field that I am in. Because you're going to always come into rooms where people are going to judge you and try to figure out, like, what's she doing here? Like, how's she getting this one? How's she get this position? So for me to be 33, a Black woman from Macon, Georgia, managing a lab with mostly non-Black people, speaks volumes in itself, and opens the door for women to come behind me.
Yeah.
It's not easy, because I'm constantly dealt with or faced with technicians who are older than me. So not only being a woman, not only being Black, but my age as well, I have seen that play an effect, or have an effect, because I've had technicians who are older than me, who are literally old enough to be my parent. And so the respect is not there. So having to navigate that as well, and to constantly learn and know how to pivot, and maintain a sense of professionalism, and not act like and pull out my making bag on you. Hey, I have to.
Woo!
They're gonna try it every time. They're gonna try it every time. And so, self-control, composure, all of those beautiful, eloquent words. You have to maintain those in those environments. And being at this particular company, I have developed more and more skills in that way. Prior to coming here, like, I could just go in the lab, I could do my job and go home. I didn't like to interact with people. I like to do, whatever you tell me to do and go home. But now, being in this management role, I have to interact with people. I have to interview people. I have to deal with you on a day-to-day basis. I have to now deal with, if there's an issue, you're coming to me for the answer or the resolution. So I always think about Michelle Obama, like, when they go low, you go high. I have to say that a lot to myself, to not,
throw somebody.
out of myself, when people when people try you. So again, I feel like the journey although it's not been easy, it's been worth it.
Yeah.
Because in it I found purpose. In it I found that I can help others. In it I found that I have and can open the door for others that look like me to come into this space. Since I've been at this company, I have gotten a couple of women jobs there, and who've reached out to me on different platforms, LinkedIn and things like that. Like, they see me and they see what I'm doing, and they reach out and ask me, like, how can I, and that gives me more of like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I see it on the other side of, I've gotten somebody a job, referred them, and they're there, and they're so grateful and so thankful. Like I said, it's just more confirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's not easy, but God did not promise that this life was easy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to remember that as well.
Okay. 1 second, because we got to unpack that. You just so many jewels, just gems, it's just goodness. We are having just a tad bit of technical difficulties, but I'm not gonna stop, because everything that you're saying is, there's somebody that really needs to hear this, and so we are not gonna stop. We're gonna keep going. But if you could try to turn your camera off and then try to turn it back on. We'll try that.
Video?
Yeah.
The video? Okay.
Yeah. Right next to the
okay.
And then try to turn it back on. Back. All right. I was like, no, if we can fix it, we're gonna fix it. If not, we're gonna roll with it, because all this stuff that you were saying is really good wisdom. But I want to highlight something that you just said. Okay, so a lot of times, one of the ways, if you are if you're watching, or if you have daughters that are interested in getting into science and STEM, and all of these different fields that we really don't see ourselves in, one of the things that you will know that God is moving you into that right direction is when he places people around you that can see the vision and help facilitate it, even when you don't. Even when you can't see it, even when you're mad and you're upset because, well, I don't want to. And like you were saying, there was some resistance, but the resistance was really just, okay, but God, I really don't see me being in that type of space. But of course, God knew, because look at what you just shared. You were able to break down a lot of barriers for people who look like us. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you share your story is because I want us to be able to see that there are women in science. There are women that are smart and intelligent and love God. And how, if you allow the Lord to really order your steps, amazing things that you can actually accomplish. So what you experienced was difficult. It was very difficult. I don't know if I could have done it, but God has graced you to do it. And so if we all have a space that God has graced us to be in, to trailblaze, to open the door, to bring people behind. And so whatever that space is, don't fight what God is trying to get you to build. Don't fight it. Even if it's hard. We was talking behind the scenes. Y'all know I love a good behind the scenes conversation. And when I say it was good, all right, it was lit, flames, fire, all that good stuff. But one of the things that we both are currently experiencing is the resistance that's happening. And so if you have resistance by way of family or, friends, or even if it's within yourself, we know society puts a resistance on people of color, especially women, Black women. It just, come on, we just got to tell the truth. If we can't get past this, then, you're not going to heal. But society puts so many limitations and restrictions upon us. But if you can get past that and allow the Lord to really order your steps, you will be able to do amazing things, and you will be able to keep that door open for people to come through so that they can also do amazing things. One of the things that I heard you say, I'm just going to interpret this a little bit different. It's not a competition. If India would have stayed in her feelings and like, okay, they doing all of these things to me, they're trying to undermine me, they're trying to disrespect me because I'm a woman of color and I'm in science, I'm just gonna quit. I'm not gonna open the door for anybody else. Imagine what that could have done for the women that you were positioned to be able to help. And so if you guys don't take anything away from our conversation, every time the Lord puts you in a place or a position, please remember that favor on your life is not just for you. That favor is for somebody else that is coming behind you. That favor is for somebody who may not have known that it was possible. India had people in her life that were depositing things and showing her like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that this was possible. So when God places you into a position that seems odd, seems weird, seems foreign, I didn't know that this was possible, I didn't even want to do this. Make sure that you remain humble, and make sure that you look for opportunities to be able to get people through the door, because that's how we see progress. If everybody is like a crab, keeping their hands fisted, I don't want to help anybody, I don't want to serve anybody, then we're really not going to see the progression that we need to see in our country and in the body of Christ. Unity is so essential and so important for us to be able to grasp and understand. If we take hold of that concept and that principle, we really would be able to see a lot of strongholds broken down and systems broken down in our society. So very well, I could have been intimidated, like, oh my God, India is a scientist. And she inspires me. She encourages me. One of the reasons why people love you so much and was afraid is because of this very reason. You are so approachable, but also you're a giant and what you were able to overcome, and that shows. So do not undermine your value. For my people that are watching, don't undermine your value and what God is calling you to do. Even if you think that it is really small, it might look small to you, but that's just the enemy's way of trying to keep you in that small mindset. Because that seed, I was talking to somebody previously, and the Lord explained to me this revelation, and it's really changed my mindset. He said that a seed is so powerful. We look at a seed as a weakness because it's small, but he said that a seed is the most powerful thing that you can have because it has the beginning and the end in it already. It has the beginning and the end. All you have to do is just go through the process with the seed, and the end is already there. It's validated. So it's not like, oh, well, if it's a matter of when. So take the seeds that God is giving you, cover that seed, work out the process of that seed. And lo and behold, you're going to see the end result of that and be amazed by how many people that you were able to steward and you were able to help. And speaking of help, please, I want you to talk about also the extension of what you do with your business, and also shining the light on your mentorship program. I really want you to talk about that.
Okay. So my business is exactly what you said earlier, is to show that this is what science is.
Mm-hmm.
Scientist is not just the white man, old man in the lab coat. Scientists come in all different shades and genders. So my brand, my business promotes women of color in STEM. So just like my shirt, her story in the making, it's probably backwards, but that's what it says.
It's right.
Okay.
Look good. It's right.
All of my shirts have different inspirational phrases and quotes on them. And again, it is just to highlight women in STEM, girls in STEM, women of color in STEM, and to show that you can do it, because I did it. I am a scientist. So I am the face of my brand to show people that yes, we do exist. Every day, every time that I meet someone and they ask me, what I do, and I say I'm a scientist, they're immediately like shocked. They're like, "What? Oh, wow. What?" And my immediate response is, yes, we exist. And that's where my brand came from, Chic Inc. That's where it came from. Because we cute.
Right.
We chic. And we're geeks.
Hello.
That's where that's where the name came from. And basically in a nutshell, that's what my business is. And it's going to eventually, right now, it's just t-shirts, but let me use my language correctly. I am going to expand it to eyewear and athleisure wear, because our health is just as important.
Yeah.
Now that I was working in cancer treatment, and now I'm over in medical device and diagnosis and things like that. It shines a light on, especially being at this particular company, learning about all of the different diseases that we are predisposed to as people of color, and just like the dominant blood type because of our color, because we were never supposed to be here. And all of the diseases and things that are in our bloodline now, because we were ripped from our home, and
right.
We are here, and that literally has altered our genes and altered our DNA and altered everything in us. And we have tried to adapt to this environment, which is an environment we were never meant to be in. And so that's why we have all of these different diseases and reactions to things, and we're allergic to things. And I'm not going to go deep, but
you speaking straight facts. You speaking facts right now.
So the athleisure wear will be just another extension of that, and to promote us to get healthy and to all of the things that fall up under health and wellness. I can go all the way with that, but I'll leave it right there. My mentorship program right now is, well, so far I've been working solely with college students, but next year I'm opening it up to middle school and high school girls.
Okay.
And so basically it's just exactly what it is, mentorship program. So girls who, because I'm already working with college girls, they're already in STEM. So my interaction with them and how I work with them now is career based.
Okay.
Deciding what field you want to go in. And so I'll start with my two success stories, because I just started the program in 2019. And so all of my girls were juniors and seniors when I first met them. And two were sophomores. So one, she already knew that she wanted to go into cybersecurity. I don't do cybersecurity. So how my program works is I link you with people who are in those fields, because I'm not an expert on everything STEM. I'm the S in STEM. I'm the science. So the technology, engineer, well, I know what is it? It's STEAM now. So I don't know what A is. It was STEM in my day.
Right.
I don't know what the A is, but technology, engineering, and mathematics, those are not my strong, like I'm not experts in that. So basically I link you with people who are. So for my girl Morgan, who already knew, like I she was majoring in engineering. She knew she wanted to go into cybersecurity. She was majoring in computer science with a minor in engineering. She knew she wanted to go into cybersecurity. She wanted to do computer software, all that. I'm like, oh, that sounds real good, girl. But I don't know nothing about that. So, what I did, like I said, I go find somebody. So I go digging. Like I told you in the beginning, I learned how to network before I learned how to do anything else science related. So you use the resources that you have, and also know that your gifts will make room for you. So in that, I literally just started reaching out to people that I did not know. And that's just the grace of God and how good he is. I literally got on LinkedIn. I found this woman who was in cybersecurity. She had been in cybersecurity for 20, 30 years. She was on all of these different committees. There's literally a Black cybersecurity organization. I had no idea.
Wow.
So I saw that she was on that board, and she was a big deal in cybersecurity, this particular lady. I literally had no fear. I messaged her, hey, told her who I am, what I do. I have this program. I have this student. Here is her resume, transcript, all that stuff. I'm like, this is her information. I would love it if you would come on. This is my program to volunteer, to be a mentor to her. Blah, 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 blah. She almost immediately responded, it seemed like within minutes. She hit me back like, oh, yes. We need more diversity in this field. We need more women in this field. We need more women of color in this field. And I'm like, link them together. She graduated last year. She just told me she moved to DC. They relocated her. She has a job with the government working in cybersecurity in DC.
Oh, this is so exciting. I'm trying not to cry, but
and I'm just
look at what God did with you.
And so my other baby, she was like me, just trucking along. I want to quit. I don't want to do this. I don't have no money. My mama raised me. I came from a single parent household, so me and her connect on so many different things.
Yeah.
And I just kept encouraging her. And she graduated last year as well. And now she's in graduate school at the University of Arkansas. She's working in cancer research there. And I'm over the moon with her. That was my little, you can do it.
You got it, girl. You got it. Just keep going.
You got it. And so anytime we talk, she's just like, thank you so much. And I'm like, I'm just doing for these girls what I would have wanted for myself.
Yeah.
I have always lived by treat people the way you want to be treated since I was a child. And I have applied that to every aspect of my life. So this program is no different. When I see these girls, I see a version of me in them. And so it brings me joy to be able to give them gems and nuggets and help them and give them things that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
Giving them information like, hey, go look this up, because I email them all the time. Hey y'all, what's up? Follow this link. They got funding for this program. There's an internship. Apply for this today. Because most kids in school, they don't have that. They go through school and they graduate, and then they graduate with no experience.
Yeah.
And then they expect them to go into the field. And it's like, no. Going through college, your internships, that is your work experience. So if you don't do them, when you graduate, you're at the bottom of the list. Because the only thing your degree told me is that you know how to take a test and pass it.
Ooh.
It doesn't tell me how you can apply that. It doesn't. So a person who did internships every single year, like myself, versus somebody who didn't, we have the same major, and maybe her GPA is even a little higher than mine. But I showed application. I showed that I know how to do these steps and pass my test. So you have to learn that you're marketing yourself. You have to use that time when you're in school to build your resume. People think like, oh, because I'm in school, I don't have. Yes, you do have a resume. Everything that you do is a skill set. I'm an expert in everything. If I did it one time, I'm an expert. Anytime, even now, I've been doing this for 12 years. I go in the lab. If I learn something tomorrow that I've never done before, oh, I'm an expert now. You show me how to do it. I practice a couple times. Oh, I'm an expert now. Don't let like these descriptions on jobs like, oh, 5 years of this and 12 years of this and 10 years of this, 3. No, yep, I got it. And then when you get in that interview, you better kill it. Make them want you. They could be looking at your resume like, she ain't done. But that's how I got so many jobs that way. I'm going to go off a little bit just to give more inspiration. When I graduated grad school, I needed a job. I had, typical graduate, go back home. I didn't have nowhere to go at the moment. I didn't have a job straight out of school. My mama like, you can't stay here for free. And I was like,
but you my mama though. I've been doing it.
So I had to get a job. I was a science major. And what I told y'all earlier, horrible in math. Like embarrassingly horrible in math. I use a calculator for everything.
Same.
That's why I say, if I can do it, you can do it. God's grace is sufficient, okay? I applied for a job at SunTrust. Why am I applying for a job at a bank? I don't know nothing about the bank. I know I have an account at the bank. I don't know how to do anything. Apply for a job at the bank. Listen here. My resume, when I graduated, was probably 4 pages long because it had all of my, because I'm a research scientist. So, like I said, your research is your experience. Full of scientificness. I get an interview, and I'm in an interview with branch managers. And it's little old me sitting right there with my little suit on. There's one thing about it, I told you, I learned public speaking, and I learned how to market myself. I got in there. They're looking at my resume. They're like, one of the branch managers said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm from the South. I got manners. Sitting up tall. Yes, ma'am. Had my Fort Valley portfolio, little briefcase." I see that you went to school, for what is biotech? They didn't even know how to say it. What are you doing here? Why do you want to work here? How can you apply what you learn? How are you a benefit to us? That's what any job wants to know. How are you a benefit to us? Because God is so good and he was my mouthpiece. I impressed every single one of the 5 branch managers. They couldn't say, they were just looking at me afterwards. I brought up everything that I had done. In school, I was also a big sister. I was in a big brother, big sister program, like in elementary school. Like I had a big sister. Her name was Brandy. I'll never forget her. And so I knew I wanted to be a big sister when I got older. In college, I became a big sister. And I still mentor her. She's actually about to graduate from college, and she got from high school, and she's going to FAMU in the fall for nursing. And she was 5 when I met her, and I just can't handle it.
Oh my gosh!
Handle it. So doing that, mentoring her. I even talked about my public speaking classes. I started doing pageants when I was in 1st grade. I talked about that and what you learn in pageantry, public speaking. Like, listen.
You better come on here.
You pull from everything. Everything, nothing that you have done is by accident. Even the bad stuff. you pull lessons from that as well. So sitting in that interview, I conveyed myself as a professional. I conveyed myself as personable. Like you said, I'm easy to talk to, because they were asking questions like, how would you handle, conflict resolution? I talked about internships where I had people, like I said, I come in there and they're disrespecting me. They're I talked about how I navigate those. Like, you pull from things that you, like you said, things that seem so small and insignificant to you. You pull from everything. God allows everything to happen for you, even the unfair stuff. You pull from all of that. And I got that job. A branch manager was like, no, I want her in my, they were fighting over me. Branch manager was like, no, I want her in my bank. I got there, and one thing about me, and I think that's what makes me so special, and I've never said special before about myself, is how adaptable I am and how trainable I am. In 3 days, within 3 days of me starting at SunTrust, I was in the back doing all of the processing. So when you give the teller your check, of course they give you the money, but they still have to process that. Most of the time, that's done after the shift, and they're there for at least an hour or two after processing everything. Especially like businesses who the bags of money, all of they we give you the ticket, but you have to process all that. It goes into the safe in the back. I was a person in the back processing everything before shift ended. So they would come in there like shift by the end. They come in there, they're like, "You already finished." They didn't want me to cry when I left. Cried when I left. Because I was just that good. And then I realized that having that job made me realize, like, wow, I can learn how to do just about anything. These t-shirts, I ain't never made no t-shirt before. YouTube, Google. And every time I add something, I have to sit like, God, things I never thought about doing this ever.
Yes.
Ever. I was never interested. Because I never had, if I don't have an interest in it,
right.
I'm not conscious of it. That's why I say it's nothing for God. So you pull from every aspect of your life. There is a purpose in every aspect of it. There's a lesson in every aspect of your life. And you have to figure out what that is. And sit down, quiet yourself, and hear from God. For me, I hear from God when I am talking and encouraging others. That's when He speaks to me. That's how I hear Him. Because the biggest thing I always struggle with was I don't know how to hear you. Like, I don't know if I'm hearing you. Like, is it, inside where I know I'm right from wrong, or what I should do, like, I struggle in my walk with, I don't know how to hear from you. I know what I'm being told. I know what I read when I do read it. But when I am praying about specific things for me, I don't know how to hear from you. And so it used to bother me when people say, like, oh, I heard God tell me that. And I'm like, what is that? How did
you do that?
I used to get so upset and frustrated, like what? How do I hear? And I used to pray like, Lord, you know your child. I'm a little slow, so I need clarity. Like, I need you to.
Yes.
Because I'm not getting, and I want to hear from you. I want to have that relationship with you where I can hear from you, especially because if you're telling me to do something, I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I realized that that's how He speaks to me. Out of my own mouth, when I'm talking and encouraging other people, boom. I'm like, you just gonna drop that on me, like, right, like, you just gonna drop that bomb on me like that? Okay, we'll talk about that later, but okay, all right. When I used to hear people saying, like, flowing, it just flowed. Then I realized that's what was happening, and I'm like, mind blown. I realized that's how he speaks to me. So having, for me, like I said, I'm having that relationship with God and continuously seeking him, continuously talking to him, even on the worst of worst days, is for me the key to it all. And I am just so blown away because I don't talk about myself. I don't talk about what I've done unless someone asks, of course. And then when I say it and people respond in such a astounding way, it's always slightly off-putting because, again, I don't see myself that way. I just see myself as a regular person, you know.
But faith comes by hearing, and that's how God has been. That's how he's speaking to you. You have to hear yourself reaffirm to yourself, and God is like, I'm not gonna have nobody else reaffirm it to you. I'm gonna have you speak it. That's how bad, girl. That's how bad you are. I'm gonna reaffirm it through you, so you can hear it for you. What I'm doing and what I've done through you. I'm just not. Don't make me throw this computer. Don't make me throw this computer.
In here, and he is these last few months. He has constantly been showing me through the smallest things just how purposeful my life is, and even how I got here. You know, I told you, you know, when we first met, I was a preemie. Recently, and it's off topic, but we talking about God, so it's always on topic when we talk.
Always.
But this was such a revelation to me because I've been going to the eye doctor since the 3rd grade. I got glasses like in the 3rd, 4th grade, and no one saw what I'm about to tell you until last year. 32. I'm 33 though. I was 32. Went to the eye doctor for my normal checkup, you know, whatever exam, and I have astigmatism in both of my eyes. Okay. Always had astigmatism in both of my eyes. And this particular doctor, I love her. She's very, very detailed. She explains everything. And she was looking at my eyes and she's telling me, you know, like, this is normal, like, this is how you know, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I see where your astigmatism is, blah, blah. And there was some shade, like some dark spot area, shaded area on the screen, on the computer. And she's looking at it and she's like, you know, have you ever had like surgery or anything? And I'm like, no. She's like, and I'm like, why? She's like, you have scar tissue. I'm like, scar tissue? And she's looking, and all of a sudden she said, she was like, were you a preemie? And I'm like, how could you know that? So there is a part, there is a part of the eye that doesn't develop, doesn't develop until the 9th month. That is the last part of the eye that develops. I was born at 6 months. Basically, I should be blind. Child. And I'm talking about learning something 32 years later. And me and my mama both on the phone shouting. And I'm just, God, y'all. Only but the grace of God. I should not be here. When I was born, I was 2 pounds, 7 ounces. I was born in November. My birthday is November 14th. I was not supposed to be born until February. Okay. The way that I was born was so, my mama was in a coma, basically. Her blood pressure was so high, they put her in a coma. I was killing her and she was killing me. When I was born, they told my mom to not get attached to me because more than likely, I was not going to make it. There were other, and this is in the 80s, so imagine.
Yeah.
Medicine back then versus now.
Yeah.
80s. There were preemies and babies that were born the same time, within that same week that I was born, that were bigger than me, that were more developed than me, that were dying. So, 4. And I just got revelation myself when I told you, when I said me, like me.
You.
I told you this is how God talks to me. So for me, they expected me to have developmental problems, like basically expecting me to be slow, expecting me to not have, develop as a normal child. They told her, when they did realize, like, oh, she is kicking around, like she kicking her, they realized my lungs were fully developed. So they was like, okay, well, she's probably gonna live, but she's gonna have all these medical problems. So like, get ready to like for her to be always at the doctor. Like she's probably gonna not learn how to talk, and that I was gonna be slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I the longest that I was in the hospital was when I was, and now granted, I have some issues, but I don't have anything like what the doctors told my mom. Even my grandma, and I love my grandma. Even my family was telling my mom to stop coming to the hospital to see me because the doctors were saying what they were saying. And I remember my mom, like she took a bus every day to come see. She didn't have a car. My mom was 22 when she had me. And even my grandma told her, stop coming up there to see me. Like, I don't know why you going up there. They told you don't get attached to that baby. Da, 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 da. But my mom was like, no, she never stopped coming to see me until they released me to come home. And so I literally, my mom said I was so small that she had to buy baby doll clothes for me. Like, even preemie clothes was too big. And they didn't really have preemie clothes in the 80s. So she literally had to buy baby doll clothes because that's how small I was. So to bring it all, full circle, it does not matter. My life is not my own. To you, I belong. That's I'm gonna say that right there. That's it.
Okay, so your mother. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a trip. I'm gonna have to make a trip and come see you. And I want to meet your mother. And I have to meet your mother because your mother understood. Even at 22, your mother understood the power of protecting your seed. Because God put the beginning and the end in you. So he put completion in the seed. I forgot to say, the Lord told me that concerning the seed, that the reason why seeds are so small, like the scripture says, the size of a mustard seed. How is it that something so small could be so powerful to throw a mountain into a sea? He said, again, we look at the size of a seed as something that's small, and we look at small as a weakness. He said, but in my kingdom, he said, I purposefully made a seed its size so that it can withhold what I put in it, so that it can travel much more easier. If it was the size of the fullness of what I put in it, you would not be able to take it to where it needs to go. It would be easier for the enemy to see. Mm-hmm. And so God, in his infinite detail, put everything that needed to go inside that seed, how deep it needed to go, how wide it needed to go, and said, okay, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And here you go. All right. Now, this how you mature the seed. You do this. You do this. I want you to go here. I want you to go. So the fact that your mother was obedient at 22, catching a bus to go and see you, even though family was saying that, you probably shouldn't. She was obedient to maturing the seed. And now it makes more sense. We was having our behind the scenes conversation. And one of the things that India was saying is, I think you mentioned it here too, is how connected you and your mother are. And that is so instrumental to your journey as your seed is maturing and growing, because your mother understands you. There's a specific understanding that God is given. There's a specific interpretation that God is giving your mother concerning you, to be able to do all the things that you just mentioned. And this stuff isn't just small feats. Being a scientist is huge. And the opportunities the rooms that you were able to be in, and God is like, you see this space? You see how full it is? I'm going to take you higher than that. I'm going to bridge you. I'm going to put you into rooms that are twice the size as this. And you're receiving it, but your mother, God is showing some of this stuff to your mother before. So when your mama call her, you'll be like, hey, baby, I seen X, Y, and Z. And you'll be like, Mama, I didn't even think. It's because the power of the seed, your mother is understanding the maturity of the seed that is developing. That's why I was like, I have to meet your mother, because, oh my goodness. And for moms out there, do not underestimate that particular process concerning your own children, because God has given us the ability to be able to see and to connect and to grow. And if we're not careful, we can terminate the seeds in our own children if we're not careful. Things that might like, oh, why are you doing that? If you're not careful, you can abort, you can dry out what God is putting in your children. So I'm crying because I didn't know that. So I'm just really thinking about, like, no, you really are supposed to be here. Like, ain't no way you not supposed. You are deserving. God has deemed you through his blood. He has deemed you deserving of being in this space. And what an honor it is for me to know you. And what an honor it is to be a woman of color. Like, I know people, that color doesn't matter. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It does matter. It matters. It matters because if it didn't matter, then God wouldn't have made us this color. Yeah. We would not have this pigment if it didn't matter. It matters. God is in all of the details. Every small detail matters to him. So to say, this is how I envisioned you. This is my thought for you completed. I am excited. I take joy in the tone that you are. It confirms my love for you in this color. Yeah, absolutely. And to go through all of the different things that you just shared and the things that you are experiencing currently. Y'all, if y'all just knew in totality, when you are going through back to back, it just seemed like it's not letting up. Please, if you don't remember nothing else, please know That is your sign that you are marked for this moment. You are meant to be here. Don't agree with whatever the enemy is saying, what the situation is saying, what people are trying to say or speaking again. You deserve to be here, and you deserve to be here thriving. India is thriving. That is the whole purpose of this series. I really didn't understand. I was like, God, this, yes, I like doing these things, but I don't see the value in it. I struggled with it for so long because I didn't see the value in it. But this is why you need to share your story and share your testimony, because it really does break that stigma. It breaks the hold that God can't use where you started, where you was at, where you at now, and where you're going. He can use all of it, just all of it. It's not inaccessible to him. And for somebody else to hear, like, she went through all of that and she is in great condition. She is in great health. She's wise. She's smart. She has, amazing connections. She is an amazing person. Like, all that you would think that with your background and your pedigree that you will be prideful and self-centered, and you are none of those things. So, y'all, I'm gonna leave that right there. Um, Probably shout off camera. Go ahead.
I am not a mother, let me say, but I am a mother. My girls, my nieces, like, one thing I want to say to mothers is, do not put your own agenda on your children. If you see them having an interest or being drawn to something, even if it's not something that you saw for them, it might be something that God saw for them.
Yeah.
So don't stifle your children. Don't let them be creative. You might not even understand it, like, why are they doing it? Why are they acting that way? Why are they doing? They are gifted in something, and you need to give them space to allow that thing to develop. I think that's one of the greatest disservices that we do, and that we can do, and that people do to their children, because they have this expectation, they have this plan that they want for their children, and they want them to go off and to become this and to do this, blah blah blah. But my mom wanted me to be a lawyer because she's in the legal field. You know what I mean? So like a doctor wanted their child to be a doctor. Like, give your children the space, and you will be surprised. Like, my mom, like, she is all over the moon when she talks about me and sees me and all those things. And so I think about that, like, if I would have done something differently out of obligation or wanting to please my mom and wanting to do what she wanted me to do, and that makes her happy, but I'm really not happy. But I'm a lawyer and I'm working and I'm making good money, but I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. Those type of things. So as someone that my mom had to learn how to let go, because she realized, you know what? Like I said, the way that I was born, everything, there was a moment where my mom was like, all right, God, she's told me this. Because I was in everything. Mm-hmm. She was like, all right, you got her. You brought her here. You got her. So I think, and I know, like I said, I'm not a parent, but I am a parent. You want to, when you want to protect them, you want to hold them, you want to shield them, you don't want them to experience anything negative. Like, you don't want them to go through what you went through. You don't. There is a point where you all right, God, you got them, and trust what you put into them, what you taught them, and they're gonna go on their own journey. And so I think that because my mom did surrender her will for me, I think that is a big reason as to why I was able to get to where I am today and where I am going, because she finally was like, okay, and with my brother too. So, okay, God. And now he's thriving in what he's doing, and she's like, you know, proud and all that. So I just want to say that to the mothers. I know those are your babies. You carried them for however many months. I say 9 months, but I was exception. You carried them. You delivered them in whatever way, whether you pushed them out, whether it's cesarean, whether you're an adoptive mother, a surrogate mother, like we're all mothers.
Mm-hmm. I
know you that instinct to hold on and to protect them, but also give them the space to grow. Just like the seed, it has to grow. It doesn't stay a seed. You put it in the ground, like you said, you give it everything. Like you said, we are the seeds. You put it in the ground, in the soil, you cover it up, you give it the water, the sunlight, everything that you're instilling into your children. You give them all of these things and trust what you put into them. Yeah. And to let them go and so they can get to the place of thriving.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. The scientist, visionary, prophet blessed us today. So if anyone wants to follow you and like get connected with you, where can they find you at?
On Instagram, that's the easiest way. Is _ChicGeek, ChicGeek. That's it. _ChicGeek. DM me. If you have daughters that you are interested in the mentorship program, again, like I said, you can email me or message me and I will go ahead and send you the intake form. It's no fees, it's free. You can DM me and I'll send you the intake form for that. Or if you yourself want to become a mentor, if you are in the STEM field already, maybe you work, in whatever field, be a teacher, anything, and you're interested in mentoring girls, I do have girls who still do need mentors. So you can message me. If you're interested in any of my products, that's on there as well. What else? Anything, if you want to collaborate with me, talk to me, ask questions, referrals, jobs, use me.
She really means what she says.
I give it. If I don't know, I'm gonna go and find it. I'm a researcher, so if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and I will get it to you in a timely manner. So that's me. _ChicGeek.
Okay. And I'll put all of her information in the description. So y'all listen. All right. If you've been praying and asking God for resources or like help, you better hop on it, because it's very rare to find somebody who is qualified physically, but also spiritually, and who is willing to be that resource and that support. So like, if you better hop on it, connect with her, because she really is amazing. And if she doesn't know, she gonna find somebody who gonna know for you. So y'all better connect with her. Okay, I am beyond full. I am overflowing. I'm probably gonna cry again. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being transparent. I'm so proud of you. I really am. You did a good job. All right, y'all. Okay, so I will see y'all again next time, and we will chat again later. Bye.